For the past 5 years, I've been married to my wife, Clara. She has a teenage daughter, Lily, from her previous marriage. From the very beginning, I tried to build a good relationship with Lily, but it's been an uphill battle. She's always been polite but distant, making it clear that to her, I am simply her mother's husband and nothing more. Still, I have done my best to support her, driving her to soccer games, helping with homework, and showing up whenever I could, hoping to bridge the gap between us. 2 years ago, Clara decided to leave her job to pursue her dream of becoming an artist. I supported her decision wholeheartedly, even though it meant taking on extra work hours to keep our household afloat. It's been financially tight, but I wanted her to feel fulfilled and believed we would get through it together. Last year, when Lily got her driver's license, I went the extra mile and worked overtime to save up for a used car for her. It wasn't anything extravagant, just a 2010 Honda Civic, but I wanted her to have some independence. I also hoped this gesture might bring us closer. When I handed her the keys, she seemed happy and even gave me a hug. Coming from her, that felt huge, like we were finally making progress. Then last month, I overheard Lily talking to a friend, and what I heard shook me to my core. She said, "I hate him. He's pathetic, thinking that car will make me like him. I just pretend to be nice so Mom doesn't get mad." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. After everything I had done, all the sacrifices I had made, this was how she truly felt. I was crushed. Hoping for some support, I confided in Clara, expecting her to understand my hurt. Instead, she brushed it off, saying, "Lily's a teenager. She doesn't mean it. Just let it go." But I couldn't just let it go. A week later, I decided to ask Lily directly if she really felt that way. She didn't even deny it, just shrugged and said, "I didn't ask for the car, so I don't owe you anything." When I told her how much her words hurt, she rolled her eyes and said, "If you're that upset, take the car back." I don't care. So I did. The next day, I took the spare key, drove the car to a dealership, and sold it. The money went toward covering some of the bills I'd been struggling with since Clara stopped working. When Lily found out, she was furious. She called me a petty jerk and accused me of punishing her for being honest. Clara was just as angry. She blew up at me, saying I had overreacted and ruined my relationship with Lily permanently. She insisted I should have consulted her first and called my actions unfair, especially since Lily was already struggling emotionally with our financial situation, something she accused me of constantly bringing up. But I was tired. Tired of the disrespect. Tired of sacrificing so much, only to be treated like an afterthought. I felt like neither of them truly appreciated how hard I was working to keep this family together. Now, the house is tense. Clara says I need to apologize and consider buying Lily another car, but I refuse. Doing that would only enable her behavior. Am I wrong for finally drawing a line? I had been with my ex for 4 years, and during that time, I grew incredibly close to her son. He was just a little boy when we met, around 3 years old, and I adored him. He wasn't biologically mine, but that never mattered. I loved him like he was my own. Unfortunately, the last 9 months of our relationship were turbulent, filled with arguments and resentment. Things fell apart, and when we finally broke up, I knew there was no going back. The way she treated me left a bitter taste, and while I could say a lot about it, there's no point in dwelling on the past. A few weeks after we parted ways, I received a call from her number. When I picked up, it wasn't my ex on the other end, it was her son. His small, frightened voice said, "Dad, I'm all alone and scared." My heart nearly stopped. He was only 7 years old. Without hesitation, I rushed over to his house, and when I arrived, I found him there by himself. I couldn't believe it. Without a second thought, I took him back to my place, where he would be safe. After that, I reached out to my ex and told her that if she ever needed to leave him alone again, she should either drop him off with me or I would come pick him up. No questions asked, no need for unnecessary conversations between us. She agreed, and from that moment on, he started spending a lot of time at my place. He preferred being with me, and I was happier having him there, knowing he was safe and cared for. Fast forward to now, I've been in a relationship with my current girlfriend for almost 2 years. From the very beginning, she knew about my situation. She knew that I was still involved in this boy's life, that he meant the world to me, and that I considered him my responsibility. At first, she didn't seem to have a problem with it, but recently, she voiced her frustrations in a way I wasn't expecting. She told me she had a big issue with my continued involvement, arguing that he wasn't my child and that I shouldn't be taking responsibility for him. I told her that I chose to take responsibility, that I made a commitment to this boy, and I wasn't about to walk away just because his mother and I were no longer together. She called me foolish for staying involved, and the conversation quickly escalated into a full-blown argument. Eventually, I had to be honest with her. I told her that I loved her, but if she wanted me to choose, she would always come second. He had been in my life for 8 years. He was my boy, my responsibility, and I wasn't going to abandon him. My girlfriend was hurt. She said I made her feel less valued, that I was putting a child who wasn't even mine ahead of our relationship, and that I was an idiot for prioritizing him over her. I don't see it that way. To me, love isn't conditional. Just because I'm not biologically tied to this child doesn't mean my love for him disappears. He calls me Dad. He feels safe with me. How could I turn my back on him? Now, I'm left wondering if I handled it the right way. Did I make the right choice, or did I let my girlfriend down? Am I wrong for standing by this boy, even if it costs me my relationship?